What's up, everybody? Day 2 of Coronavirus Sports Boredom. This is Ethan with you. JD rocking the what is that? The Westbrook jersey today.
Yes, sir.
Looking good, and we still got plenty to talk about, even with coronavirus taking over. It's kind of sad because MLB opening day was yesterday. Uh, it was depressing as hell because there was no MLB opening day. MLB airing a bunch of rerun games did not help my depression. But we do have some MLB news to talk about. Recently, all kinds of players getting Tommy John surgeries, particularly Sale and Syndergaard recently. So, kind of, what are your thoughts on how that works for those guys? And we just see more and more hard throwers getting Tommy John. So, how do you feel about that whole thing?
Well, you got to take care of your arms for one. And I know it's an unfortunate thing. No one expects to get Tommy John in their elbow, but it's tough. I mean, Sale, he's at the end of his career. He's older. An injury like this could potentially take him out. But David Price came back from surgery. He's still pitching. Syndergaard, I was expecting big things from him this year, but with the surgery now, it's kind of one of those things that you got to wait till next year. It's tough,
Yeah.
but it's life.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's unexpected with these guys, too, that they had it close to the season instead of more in the offseason. Uh, I mean, I was thinking, there's definitely something to be said for the hard throwers getting it, right? I can't imagine Kyle Hendricks getting this stuff. Kyle Hendricks is just a pitcher, right? These guys are pitchers, but they're throwers as well, and there's definitely more risk. But at the same time, I do feel like the stories are a bit overblown because, it's Tommy John that even allows these guys an opportunity to play. If we didn't have Tommy John surgery, these guys' careers would be over. So, yeah, more guys are having Tommy John, but that's as opposed to not pitching at all. You think about, Carl Spooner back in the day, the prospect with the LA Dodgers, was supposed to be one of potentially the all-time great pitchers if everything went according to plan, and had an injury with his rotator cuff, and he was just done. There was time where you could just be finished, and so Tommy John, the story's a bit overblown because it's actually a positive thing that's allowing people back into the game. But at the same time, I do think there's been an inordinate amount of hard-throwing pitchers getting
Well,
played.
yeah, I mean, you're probably aware of Tom Gordon.
What's that?
Are you aware of Tom Gordon?
Tom Gordon?
Yeah.
I can't remember him.
He was a pitcher. He had Tommy John surgery, and he went on to pitch 10 years after. I mean, so he's
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
most he won a World Series and everything.
Yeah, it happens. That's the thing. I mean, you talk about the story of the OG of Tommy John himself. I mean, he went from being a dude who was, everybody thought he was finished to having one of the longest careers of really any big league pitcher.
Yeah.
It has that potential to heal you, but you think about the recovery process, it's just such a long recovery. And in today's MLB, I mean, it's tough to make it like that.
Mm-hmm.
You miss an entire year and a half or whatever, it's tough to just jump right back in the swing of things. The guys are stronger, they throw faster, the game is more technical. It just works on a whole nother level. It's so tough to jump back into right now. And so, even though Tommy John allows people an opportunity to continue their careers, it often will be a major setback and sometimes will end your career anyway.
That's true. Well, speaking of baseball and opening day, I mean, let's look at some of the younger guys in the league. You got Acuna Jr. of the Braves, the outfielder. He's a stud. Got the defending World Series champion, the Nationals, with Juan Soto. He's also very good, and that's very good potential. Then you got guys like Fernando Tatis. You got a lot of guys like that in the league. Who do you think's the best young star in the league, in the MLB, and particularly between Soto and Acuna, and how that is going to work out in their division?
Yeah. Well, let me start out by saying, I like Fernando Tatis. He's a guy who everybody is saying is going to regress, and they're right, because he's not going to hit 325 or whatever the heck. A lot of it was variance from a shortened season, and a lot of it was, I think he had a 414 batting average on balls in play. I don't care how hard you're hitting the ball. You're very lucky to be putting the ball in play and getting hits 41% of the time. So I think he's a stud. I think he's a great player, but that's why I don't see him with the likes of Acuna and Soto right now. Acuna and Soto have a better track record. They've played for longer, and Tatis, I think, has been very fortunate. But between Acuna and Soto, I know Acuna is the guy who's getting all the hype, but I would actually have to take Soto as the better player. I think they're both
Mhm.
really good defenders. For young dudes, they'll still have to pick that up playing big league outfield more, but they both got the athleticism. But this last year, I think Soto really separated himself as just a better hitter. I know
Yeah.
Acuna had a flashier season. He scored 127 runs, steals 37 bases, 41 dingers, 101 RBI. But you look at some of the overall numbers, like his OPS, it was 883 last year, which is obviously stellar. But Juan Soto absolutely went off. His was, I think, he had a 949 OPS. And that was fueled mainly by a 401 on base percentage. And getting on base is even more important than slugging, is what the stats show. And that's what makes Soto, I think, the better player. Is I think he's just more, he has a veteran approach at the plate. He's a dude who is going to work the count, is going to get on base at a really alarming rate. And I think that's what kind of sets him apart from Acuna at this point.
Yeah, I would tend to agree there. Acuna has the speed. I think he's more of a Mookie Betts, but Soto's, I think, the all-around better player, especially
Yep.
hitting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would tend to agree there. Yeah.
And there's a reason Acuna is the player who's getting all the hype right now, because he's the dude who's going to steal 40 bases, have a shot at the 40-40 club. And don't get me wrong, he's a great young player. He's one of the best in the business. And you could argue he has more potential than Soto, but I think Soto's a better pure hitter, and he has a better approach. He might not be quite as athletic, people say, which is funny to say because he's a crazy good athlete too. But he's big, he's strong, and he's a really smart hitter. That guy
Yeah.
at whatever 22 years old, however old he is, he already has the approach of a major league veteran up there.
Well, speaking of hitting, then, what do you think about the new three-batter rule?
I hate it. I think that all this stuff in Major League Baseball that's trying to speed the game up, that's trying to make it play faster. Baseball is a slow-paced game. And, I, for one, embrace that. There's a reason that you have your day at the ballpark, right? You're going to go there, you're going to drink a few beers, eat a couple of hot dogs, relax, and watch a baseball game. And it's a relaxing game, it's a slow-paced game, but it's also a cerebral game. And I think this takes away some of the strategy in baseball, because you have guys who are lefty specialists, right, who exist to get one batter out. You just put Randy Choate out of a job. You just took the job away from those guys who that's their sole job, is to get one batter out. And there's something to that. There's a strategy to that. Instead, we're just going to start seeing more hard throwers, more all-around guys who can pitch to lefties and righties. And so there's going to be managerial strategy that goes out, and there's even going to be pitching strategy that goes out. There's going to be less opportunities for the guys without the raw tools. Plus, less people getting into games, which the Players Association doesn't like. The managers don't like that. I think that the entire idea of Manfred trying to speed up baseball, you can't. If you're trying to speed up baseball, you're going to change what baseball is. Baseball is a slower-paced game, and it should stay that way.
Yeah, I tend to agree there. And I mean, everyone's doing the CBA and the NFL. There's all these new rules going around in different leagues, but I think Manfred's been messing up lately, and this is one of the another cases where it's his intentions might be good, but it's changing the game, like you said. And yeah, I don't think you shouldn't be changing the game. Play how it was meant to be, unless it's for safety precautions or something different. But that's
Yeah.
out of the question.
Yeah, stuff like putting the fencing around the fields or whatever, the net,
Yeah,
the extra
stuff
net.
like that. Yeah.
You do what you got to do there. But here's the thing about Manfred, and with all due respect, he is very much out of touch, as he's been accused of. He's just a rich dude who practically owns baseball at this point, and who doesn't know what to do with it. The way that he disregarded winning the World Series, and what his comments with the Astros cheating scandal, like it didn't matter. And then now him trying to speed up baseball, trying to market it, trying to make it like other sports. Baseball is not like other sports. I think that's a big part of why people like you and I love it. It's a different pace sport. It's a different game. It takes a ton of strategy. It has a ton of numbers. It's just a completely different pace of game, and it needs to stay that way because that's a big part of what makes baseball baseball.
Yeah, and well, speaking of different sports, XFL.
Yep.
What are your takes on how that went and how Corona, ended a pretty good year?
Yeah. Yeah, and specifically whether or not the XFL succeeded. I mean, I think you can't say that it didn't because I think this was such a tough break, right? And it's a shame because this is the second year in a row we've had an upstart football league come and put a great product on the field. People can say what they want about the AAF, and of course, when something fails, people uh, tend to remember it poorly. But the AAF was a good league. They put a great product on the field. Uh, their first couple of nights, they had higher ratings than even the primetime NBA games and stuff. That people were tuning in and people were loving that because the American people love football. That's just a fact. You can't argue with that. We love football, and so when they were able to put a good product on the field, that was awesome. Unfortunately, the money was in the hands of the wrong people, and they failed that. The XFL, I think, really had its act together and was doing a lot of great things as a league. And they implemented rules that protect players, which is such an important thing, especially in light of as we figure out more and more about concussions and CTE and the possibility of brain damage from that sport. Protecting players is so important. So the safety was great, and the product on the field was excellent. I mean, it's like it took all the good things of the first completely failed iteration of the XFL and brought those to the forefront while turning that stupid danger that the league had back in 2001 or whatever and making it a safer league. You know, the whole slogan was for the love of football, and everything they did was true to that. What they did was true to the game of football. Instead of trying to change it, I think they made football better, and this coronavirus is just such a tough break for them.
Yeah, and well, personally for me, I think XFL was a huge hit. I think this is their second time, trying again with a new league and the XFL, and I think they hit it off the tee. I mean, you got guys like Cardell Jones, who deserves, everyone's. I mean, he's not a star or anything, but XFL, he's been doing good lately, and there's
Yep.
guys like that can make a living partly
Yep.
off of games like, and even like PJ Walker, he's in the NFL now.
In
He
the
played for
NFL.
the Roughnecks. I mean, that's good. I think XFL is a great success. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
I love watching it. I think more football is better. I'm happy. It's like the big three. The big three is for older guys, but XFL,
Yep.
I like it.
Well, and you make a good point because the XFL gives guys, and even younger guys, you think about guys coming out of lesser colleges, guys who maybe underperformed in their college career, that would have to go work a desk job or something,
It
and
gives them
now
a
that
spotlight. Yeah.
second shot to make it to the show, or for the guys who are simply not that talented. I mean, heck, I don't care what you're paying me. If you give me the opportunity to go and make a living playing football, I mean, I'm down for that. I don't know what better way you could really spend your time. It sounds awesome, and
Yeah.
I think they're doing a better job than past leagues have of player advocacy and getting guys paid. And in fact, its focus is all about the players, and I think that's made it a better product as a result.
Yeah. Well, I think we covered that pretty good. I mean, let's switch gears here. I think go to the NBA. There's been speculation about some guys not fitting together, combinations for future. I mean, let's look at the Eastern Conference real fast. You got the Bucks on top of that conference. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the league, if not the best, and one of the favorites to win the championship. But the Sixers, they're right up top. They're in that 4 or 5 slot, and I mean, Philly has all the pieces. They've been having the pieces. They just can't get it together. Do you think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid should be broken up? Or do you think that, as they say, they'll find a way to do it? And should they keep going on with that duo?
Well, here's the thing. You look at the Bucks and they have Giannis and Chris Middleton, right? Those are two guys who play perfectly together. Their strategies complement each other. Giannis is able to draw defenders and he's able to create good opportunities. And Chris Middleton's a dead-eye shooter, so that's what he does. And Giannis is just, simply put, probably the best player in the league right now. And those two play so well together. But to me, I get that Ben Simmons wants to play fast and Joel Embiid wants to play slow. it's such a unique situation because Ben Simmons is a point guard who's big and cannot shoot the basketball. But you have to find a way to make that work because you have two all-stars. Unless you're going to trade away one of those guys and get an all-star who's a better fit, you're not going to trade away an all-star.
No.
I think about it like this. Would you rather have Joel Embiid and a dude who complements him or Joel Embiid and an all-star? You're going to, maybe they're going to deteriorate each other's value very slightly, but they're still going to be more valuable than one of them and some other scrub player.
Yeah, I agree there. I love Ben and Embiid. I think they go good together. They're not bad. And overall, I think the Sixers, their big concern to me is just figuring it out on a night-to-night basis because they look like a championship team one night. The next night, they look worse than the Chicago Bulls. I mean,
it's true.
They just need to get things where they find consistency. And once you get that, I mean, you can go places.
Consistency is so important, and especially, you think about their struggles on the road. It's funny because you talk about Philly, which is this big, tough guy city, right? Philly all thinks they're super tough, and yet they have one of the softest teams in the NBA. They have a team that can't go and perform on the road, who can't really stand up to adversity, who's always fighting in the locker room and stuff. That's the stuff to me that has to be worked out. That's a team that looks great, and at times, Simmons and Embiid, it's an unconventional dance, but it's a dance that has worked for those two. And they just need to find out consistency, find how to play as a couple of all-stars. And here's the other thing about Embiid and Simmons. I mean, they're both really good defensive players too, People don't talk a lot about defense in the NBA, but you trade away Ben Simmons, you trade away possibly the best defender in the league. A guy who's quick enough to stay with guards and big enough to guard, a guy like Giannis. I mean, you talk about two dudes that have great defensive value. I'm not trading them away just because of style of play.
Yeah, I agree. And there's also been like you see LeBron and AD teaming up, stuff like that. What do you think about like Giannis and Middleton aren't necessarily like two big name all-stars. Middleton's obviously an all-star, but he's not as big as like people like Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Anthony Davis, Kawhi, PG, Westbrook, Harden. Do you think that teaming up with two big name all-stars like LeBron and AD did create success there versus Giannis and Middleton where they're really good player, one of the best in the league, and more of a mediocre all-star?
Well, we're just seeing the NBA turn more into an ISO league, right? It's more a league where star power gets the job done. And to me, the Bucks are kind of the exception that proves the rule. The Bucks are a team. The Bucks have one superstar player and are really making it work. But that's because they're a team. They got their crap together. They know what they're doing. But that's a tough blueprint to attain. So I think for the deep-pocketed teams, getting two superstars obviously has found a way to work. But, you need high-character guys too. And you need guys like LeBron and AD who are going to figure out how to play together, or like Kawhi and PG. I mean, you don't want egotistical stars. You need guys who are going to find a way to coexist and create looks for each other. But I think it's absolutely a really good strategy for NBA teams.
That's what my boys Harden and Russ did.
But the problem is those guys don't really play together,
They do. They do.
It's part of the reason why the Rockets are less successful, because you see James Harden, a dude who's a great scorer, right? But he's completely disinterested in defense. And
that's not true. He was top 5 steals this season, and it was last year. He finished second or third last year.
Well, steals are one thing, but he doesn't play tough, hard defense.
He does. He's underrated on defense, and so is Westbrook and him playing together.
No. Either Harden's going to do his double step back, he's going to pass the ball and assist the basket, or he's completely disinterested in the play.
Who beat the Lakers with the tallest guy being Harden, taking the jump ball against Anthony Davis? Who beat them? The Rockets.
Listen, though, that's a team that doesn't have chemistry right now. They have stars, but
Harden and Westbrook do.
Those are the two stars in the league that don't synergize well together.
No, they do. You'll see the
Giannis and Middleton synergize the most. Embiid and Simmons, there's questions, and then there's those two who are a couple of point guards
No,
who are, I mean, Westbrook is either going to he'll just take it and he'll drive to the basket. Harden's going to do his double step back.
we're
Those
winning it all this year.
work as a team.
No, come playoff time, you'll see. H-Town all the way, baby. H-Town.
Well, it works. It's a decent strategy, but at the same time, I feel like that's a big part of why they're a notch below a team like the Lakers or the Clippers, teams that have had superstars who are not egotistical guys who have really figured out how to make this work.
Which is true. Well, speaking of egotistical, you really want to talk about that. Let's switch over to boxing. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Number 3 is coming up. Dante, issued it. Who do you got in this third fight, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's I think anybody would be a fool not to take Tyson Fury right now with what he did in that last match, because Tyson, everybody had said he doesn't have power, and he comes in at 273 pounds of pure British beef or whatever he said, and I think he proved he has knockout power. I mean, I would not want to mess with that man because he's the best boxer in the world, and now he's strong, and I feel like at 31 years old, Tyson is better than he's ever been. But that said, people are saying that Deontay Wilder was stupid to take that rematch. And
Yeah.
I completely disagree with that because he caught some tough breaks, right? He took that shot in the ear in the second round or whatever. He was not really the same. He was wobbly for the whole rest of that match. And so he lost that knockout power. But you know what Deontay says? You have to be perfect for 12 rounds to beat me. That's normally how Tyson wins fights. I have to be perfect for 2 seconds. And so even if we all know Tyson's the better boxer, if it goes 12 rounds, I give him about an 80% chance to win that fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think that Wilder has that knockout power, and all it takes is one shot for him to win it. So is it foolish for him to take that rematch? I think absolutely not.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think they're both great fighters, and I think with Deontay losing, he's giving some, people giving him some crap, but he's still a great boxer. Tyson won, and Tyson was the better fighter in that match, but I think they're both two great boxers, and it's going to be fun to see. It's far away in advance, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Wilder and Fury's futures possibly after this trilogy fight?
I think Fury's at the end of his line eventually, soon. He's. I mean, they're both. They're heavyweights. Heavyweights. You have a big heavyweight fight, or else you're not really gonna see him much. But honestly, I think they both have good futures. Whoever they fight, whoever wins this next one. If Fury comes out with this one, Deontay, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
But if Deontay wins it again, we could be seeing a fourth match. You never know.
Oh my gosh. Well, you talk about, here's the thing about boxing. You say that heavyweights can take a punch from another heavyweight, right? Well, here's the thing. There's one part of your body that's not designed to take a punch from a 270-pound man, no matter how big you are, and that's your head. And in the heavyweight division, your head is taking a lot of punishment. And, that boxing is such a dangerous sport. And for a guy like Deontay Wilder, he's 34 years old. He's not that old, but we're talking about a dude who's been in 40-some fights.
Yeah.
Been doing this for a long time, and I know he didn't take a ton of punishment moving up through the ranks, but I think that Deontay, he's made his bank at this point. He takes this fight, hopefully comes out of this safely, and win or lose, I think this should be his last fight.
If he loses, there's no way he retires. It's Deontay Wilder we're talking about.
But is he really going to get another fight against Tyson Fury?
Maybe not against Tyson.
I think the fight and believe me, I think Wilder is a great fighter, but I mean, we don't want Fury to be 35 years old by the time he finally gets to fight Joshua. That's what we want to see.
That's true too. Well, and
there are other good heavyweights in the world other than these two guys. So.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of them, but I mean, you look down the line, even at pound for pound or middleweights and all that, you got good boxers. Even Canelo, he's coming up soon. There's a lot of good boxers, but I want to look at the UFC real fast. What do you think? I mean, this is a while ago. McGregor beating the Cowboy.
Yep.
Do you think McGregor and Khabib could happen again?
Hey man, those are a couple of crazy dudes, and I'm not gonna say that. I mean, a lot of people would want to watch that fight. I mean,
Oh yeah.
those are two dudes with big personalities who hate each other, who are both very good. So I don't see any reason why not. I mean, I think that at this stage in his career, I think Khabib's the better fighter. I would take him to win that match. I think
Mm,
McGregor on his way back, the guy's had issues. Even if he keeps his act together, he's been around for a while, and I don't think he's as focused as Khabib, to be honest. You have a guy in Khabib who's crazy, but at the same time, he's been focused and he's just been mowing people
yeah.
down. McGregor is going to take a boxing match against Mayweather.
Well, that's
He's
what
going
I'm
to
talking. Yeah.
play a school bus or
Well,
something. He's going to punch an old dude in the bar, and now he's going to get back to fighting. So
but
clearly,
okay,
there's more
McGregor.
important things for McGregor, Mr. Proper number 12, than actually
Hold
repping
up, hold up,
himself in
hold
the
up,
ring
hold
right
up. McGregor admitted that he wasn't focused at some points, but that's what I was gonna talk about next. McGregor Mayweather too. There's speculation it's gonna happen. Mayweather seems to be down. Do you think Mayweather McGregor could happen again, or maybe a Pacquiao Mayweather?
now. Okay. Mayweather McGregor 2 would be the stupidest thing ever. You cannot do that.
All I know is anything with McGregor, I'm watching. I love McGregor.
Well,
He's
that's
been
the
4
thing
years.
about him. He's a showman, right? And that fight was supposed to be a show the first time around. You have the greatest boxer of all time and certainly the
Yeah,
flashiest
one of them.
UFC fighter of all time in a boxing match, but anybody with a brain knew what was about to happen, and they knew Floyd was going to tear him apart.
Hey, he didn't tear him apart though.
He never even been in a boxing match. I mean,
That's true.
Floyd didn't knock him out because that's not Floyd's style. That's not what Floyd does, but he utterly dominated that match. And to me, a second one,
Not utterly, but
if Conor wants more brain damage, I guess he can go ahead.
how about
But
Mayweather and UFC versus McGregor?
oh my, all right.
Hey, there's a lot of possibilities. With Corona, anything's possible now.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
We've seen some crazy stuff. Even Boris Johnson got the coronavirus today. So I mean, and speaking of coronavirus, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, all cleared today. Christian Wood was cleared yesterday, so that's good
yep,
news for NBA
that's good
and the
stuff.
fans and the players. So, and
But
also, this is a side note. The Big Three partnered with a media group. They're going to be doing some quarantined basketball tournaments
yeah,
in
yeah,
early May.
yep, yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I don't know if I hope the virus will be done by then because I'm trying to get back to CLA baseball. Come on, I want a season to finish, but I like it. Maybe it's a little too late, but we'll see what happens. I love it though.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. We just are at this point trying to pull through and find what we can do with sports. I don't know if you've seen, but NASCAR with the iRacing
Yep.
on the weekends. I think it's super cool. It's such a great simulation of racing, and I mean, frankly, we just need that in our lives right now. And
Yeah,
just to
we
have
do.
sports in any capacity. I mean, I legit watched an entire 2K simulated game last night, 2K NBA, just to get that component of sports because we need that in our lives right now. And I
Yeah,
think that the big
Jed,
three
we
going out of
need
their
sports
way.
just like we need each other. Social.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, sounds good.
Well, I think that's all we got for today.
That should just about do it.
Yep. We will see you all again. That's JD
Have a good
signing
one.
out.
Have a good
Adios.
one. Stay safe.